Hey y'all, this is Kyle with Inshore Edge. I'm going to show you here shortly a little video of a redfish pattern I kind of stumbled upon. And it's a shallow water pattern with the reds keyed in on shrimp. We're coming into the fall and we got this big shrimp migration going on, and these shrimp, a lot of them love to hang up real shallow, and these reds are kind of attracted in. And so as you'll see, as I'll talk about, I found out you have to kind of finesse these fish. I tried to, what I call power fish these reds. It's kind of a bass fishing terminology where I'm throwing bass jigs, which I catch a lot of reds on, chatter baits, which I've caught reds on, even big swim baits, just everything a little bit bigger and heavier and faster. Reason being, because of the visual, when you see these fish, they're busting shrimp, almost chasing them up on mud flats. And you'll see that in some of the video. At first glance, and I learned this, so I'm sharing you the lesson that I learned. And I missed a lot of opportunity and missed a lot of fish, finally figured it out. But I saw aggression, I saw the visual aggression going on, the splashing, good sized reds, waking, coming out of the water. And then so I thought aggressive with my lure presentation, and it turned out to be couldn't be further from the truth. I actually spooked a lot of these fish. These fish would chase the shrimp, you would see that, and then they'd come back and just sit. And this is all within a foot of water. I actually hit a couple in the heads as I was retrieving a bait and scared them off. And so what I found out was I needed something that resembled these shrimp, that was much more finessey, yet I could still throw on a medium heavy. And it was kind of soft jerk bait, soft plastic jerk baits. So anyhow, we'll let you see the video. You'll see the background is little pockets, little mud flats right up against marsh grass and some other structure. And you'll see the reds chasing the shrimp. And so we'll follow up afterwards and kind of show you some of the gear. Nice little red. So these reds have this little school of shrimp pinned up here in about, honestly, well less than a foot of water. I learned this the other day, that they're aggressive, and so my instinct is to be aggressive also and throw big power lures in there. But actually the aggression is kind of only shown when they're chasing, and then they come back. There's another one. Oh, that's a good one. Nice red. So anyhow, finessing it with a 6-inch, says Z-Man sent a jerk shad, and really looks like a shrimp in this situation. Put him in live well. So the obvious sign is them chasing shrimp, of course, shrimp jumping. That's, there's a fish nearby. But when they're not chasing, you can actually see wakes at times as they're moving around. Because again, they're in very shallow water. Not so shallow that their backs are out of the water, but if you look closely, you can kind of get an idea of where they're hanging at. Another thing I've learned, don't assume that they're just cruising, constantly swimming. They'll chase and then they'll come back out and just stop and sit there. a while. Fooled him though. He saw I really had to lead him. Let's go behind. Little 22-inch red. Put them on that fluke. All right, y'all, so last but not least, we'll kind of show you some of the gear you heard me talk about, the Z-Man scented jerk shads and the Zoom flukes. So that is the 6-inch Z-Man scented jerk shads. That's a smelt color, as you can see, in the relatively clear water that I was fishing in. Clear is relative. It can be a tea color, and some of it's kind of that green salt color, depending on where you are in the bay system. Shows up really well like a shrimp. And then also, I'll pop this out and give you a little look at the hook. It says Z-Man hook, and so I'll show you these in the package. So it's the weighted swim bait hook. You can tell this is the one. I really like this one. It's got the little red plastic holder for the nose of the that Elastec material. Holds it really well, keeps it in place really well. You'll actually see maybe in the video the plastic, when it comes off the hook, it'll actually run up your line, so you just slide it back down. Really preserves the plastic, and it's Elastec, so it lasts forever. And then, like I said, scented jerk shads. So a lot of people, when they think of Z-Man or Elastec material, there's a couple companies use that now, they think durability. True, they are very durable and can last you through a lot of fish. For me, the attraction to these lures, or when I like to use them, is for their buoyancy. For example, that's an 1/8 ounce weighted wide gap hook. With your traditional plastics, that 1/8 ounce, it's not heavy, but I'll get a faster sink rate. And so in this situation where I want the castability, so I'm in a foot of water and I need to get close enough to cast to these reds, but this is a big flat where it's almost all a foot or less. And even I have a 21-foot Avid, and I can float real shallow, but my trolling motor and all that, you need some water. And once you're getting that half-foot range, it's hard to kind of maneuver. So I need to be able to make long casts. So I can go with just a weightless wide gap, your standard worm hook, and a Zoom fluke, or even a Z-Man Elastec fluke. But you're dealing with castability now, that distance, right? And I need to throw these, I'm red fishing, so you can throw medium light, but I like to keep the fight fair, and I want at least medium heavy, in this case bait cast rods. So what happens is I can manipulate using that buoyancy and 6 inches of plastic of that Z-Man scented jerk shads with an 1/8 ounce. And it actually, because of that buoyancy, it actually becomes more of a weightless type movement. It sinks, yes, slowly, but more so glides and is really functional. Yet I get that castability, because even though it's buoyant, the material is buoyant, I'm still getting the weight of that plastic and that 1/8 ounce. So I can chunk it pretty far. And today I'm chunking it into a north wind. So still getting that distance, not getting too close to those fish. Like I said, like I explained to you, these fish get spooked very easy. And so not only can you scare them with the wrong lure presentation, you can also scare them by getting too close. And so I'm able to manipulate the Elastec for castability and presentation, more of a glide floating type style, yet with the 1/8 ounce. I would encourage you, and I'll talk about it in more videos, to use Z-Man or the other products, the Elastec material, for the buoyancy. You'll see later on in the year, we'll mid-stroll, we'll fish on jigs, traditional jigs, certain Elastec plastics. Again, I'm using it for sink rate and fall rate. Whereas maybe the fish are not aggressive enough to eat the traditional fall rate of a normal plastic. Sometimes instead of changing jig sizes, jig weights, I can actually switch up to an Elastec material, get a slower fall rate, and the bite is on. So again, marketed for the Elastec material and the durability, but buoyancy. Think buoyancy and use that accordingly. Anyhow, hope you learned something with this. Still time, the reds are still out and they're up shallow looking for the shrimp. It's a great visual to see what you're looking for. You can cruise around, you'll see them splashing, and maybe you can use this technique to get up there and catch a few reds. All right, appreciate you.